Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at a simple CSS card system which will help you for your website and any other matters. So what we're doing today is simply looking at the different ways or the cards that you can use to show products or items or whatever it may be. So here's the simple weather forecast website. We'll refresh the weather data. Simple time card up here. So this is a card. You can see anything that's in gray is a card. So card class, which separates everything up. So you got a basic footer down the bottom here as well. So yeah, the card is all this content here with the background and the gaps between them. So they're called cards because they look like a playing card. That's pretty much where it got its name from, and they're very common. So we'll take a look here now. So the setup, how this works, is a class row which just goes around all of the columns. Doesn't matter how many columns are inside it, you just need one. All it does is just change the margin on the border. So we'll take a look at the first one. So this here is one entire card. So you notice it has the class column and then the class card below that in two separate divs. So what this does is the gray part itself is the card, and then the column separates everything up into four rows here. Oh, sorry, into four columns. Okay, so now I'll go over to here. I should click JavaScript here. So this is just the data it's grabbing. It's just JSON data, heaps of it, and it just sorts it all out into all the different functions. So if you look over here, we have the wind speed, the temperature, and the forecast, as well as the icon. And the icon is dynamically made depending on the weather forecast. Alrighty, so if we start from the top here, so this is the JSON data here for the different locations. So Toowoomba, Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, Cairns, Darwin, Adelaide, Perth. And simply on click of the button, so the refresh weather data button, it will run all of the functions. So run 1, run 2, all the way through to run 8. And all these just sort the JSON data for each individual location. This can be done in a way more optimized way, but this is a CSS tutorial, so we'll look at that in another video. Looking just basically what we have here though, simply we console log the JSON data that we're looking at when we start the program here. That's just to make sure that everything's all good, and that if there's an error you can go easily fix it. That will be removed if you have a full final version. Simply declaring the variables wind, temp, forecast, and time. Setting the object to be JSON-T, which is the JSON data there. And then we're setting OBJS to the element T in HTML. That's where it'll insert into later on. Checking if the sort order equals 0, which as you can see all these here do. And then if it equals 0, it'll set the wind to the object gust underscore kilometers an hour. So if you scroll along here, at some point you will find it. There we go, gust underscore kilometers an hour. There we go, so you can see 32 kilometers an hour there for Sydney Harbour. So if I go over here, you'll see Sydney, 32 kilometers an hour. Alrighty, then after that we set the air temperature, the clouds, and the local date and time. So the clouds are simply just the forecast. So as you can see, some of this data is missing. It just wasn't provided in that day. Forecast is clear here though, clear and mostly clear. When the forecast is clear, it's a sunny image, and when it's mostly clear, it's cloudy, and then if it's cloudy, there's no sun at all. And then after that, we simply detect if it's clear, mostly clear, or nothing. If it's clear, we get the sunny icon, mostly clear, the sunny and cloudy icon, and if there's nothing due to missing data, we just set it as sunny. And the last part here, we export all of the data out into HTML using the document.getElementById .innerHTML function, and then the message to follow. So that's about that. That just repeats for all the other different places. Over in the CSS here, first of all, we'll just go set all with the box size in your box border. Not really that important, you don't need it, but it just makes everything look a little bit nicer. In the body of the HTML, we're making the margin 0 and setting the background color to green, just here. That way it just gives it a bit more of a pop effect and you can see it better. There's nothing in the body, so that can go. The header and stuff, that's not really important, that's just up the top. So what we'll do is we'll go down to here, the very bottom. So yeah, down the bottom here we have the columns. So these are different types of columns. You've got column 3, which is 33% width, column nothing, which is 25, which is the default for having 4 across a page, column 1, which takes up the whole page, and then column 2, which is 50%. So this here is a column 2, it takes up 50% of the page. These are column 25s, so it takes up a quarter of the page each. And then this top bar here is a column 1, which takes up 100% of the page. And down below that we have our card class. So these ones can be changed back in the HTML here. At any time we have class column. So it depends as to how many you want across the page as to what you put. Next one is class card. This just simply sets the color of the card, the heights, the paddings, all that kind of stuff. You can change those to whatever you like. As you can see, you can make multiple of these just like you can with columns. To have different colored cards for different purposes. Below that we have the dot row, which is simply making it a flex box, so that way when we go here, there's a good example, we can go in the console and set it to responsive. As we shrink it, it'll shrink everything and then it'll make it a single column for mobile friendliness. That way you can shrink it and it'll always fit, or you can expand it and make it bigger. And then these here, just for the, depending on what size your column is, it'll shrink the page. Then we have our all-important @media function, which says when the width is equal to 800 pixels, it'll reverse the columns and make them just one in a row. And we set the margin on the bottom to 20 pixels just to separate it a bit more. And the row after function here is just used to separate up the rows. And that is it for this tutorial. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, the source code will be in the comments below. And have a good day. Don't forget to like and subscribe.